What is non-refundable deposits? So non-refundable deposits has become very, very popular in the last 5 years, where a wholesaler is wholesaling a property and a bunch of buyers are interested. And as soon as a buyer is interested that they want to actually buy the house, they ask them for a non-refundable deposit. This is usually $2,000, $5,000, depending on where you live. And the buyer is going to give the wholesaler that money up front, and it's non-refundable. This way, if the buyer decides to back out for whatever reason later, that they get cold feet or whatever, the wholesaler doesn't get screwed on the amount of time that they just waited for this buyer to close. All right, because you got to understand on this, like, you have a contract, you have option periods, you have all that. And if a buyer just kills that time for you, you may end up losing that deal because of that. So a non-refundable deposit protects you a little bit by making sure that you get a little bit of that money up front. And usually that non-refundable deposit is deducted from your wholesale fee. So if your wholesale fee is 10 grand and you ask for a $2,000 non-refundable, then the difference of the $8,000 is going to be paid to you at closing.
One thing you want to keep in mind about these non-refundable deposits is you want to make that, if you're the person buying that house, you want to make sure that that non-refundable deposit is being paid to a title company. It's not being paid directly to that seller. And if you're the wholesaler, please do it that way, because it instills confidence. It establishes a level of transparency that you're not going to just run off with that money to say, hey, the deal doesn't close because it's no fault of the buyers. Say the seller had some title lien, they had got cold feet, they canceled the contract, that money does go back to the buyer because it's no fault of their own that property didn't close. So from buyer side, covers you as well, that if that property doesn't close, it's a third party that has that money. It's going to be easier to get back than to the actual wholesaler who could potentially just run off with that money or has already spent that money and can't give it back to you.